Audio processor input compression output RMS compression setting tutorial. Click compression, RMS to switch. Input compression output RMS compression function interface. Divided into input compression output RMS compression. Click below to switch to a different port. Input compression is mainly used to adjust the dynamics listening experience of sound, make the overall loudness more consistent. The sound is more compact and powerful. The output RMS compression is mainly used for prevent the speaker from operating beyond its rated power for extended periods, which could cause damage. Of course, it can also be used to artistically musically shape sound. This video only shares how to use its protection functions. Threshold. When setting input compression, threshold determines the signal level at which the compressor starts working. Can adjust the settings by observing this level indicator bar. For example, if you only want to compress the excessively loud drum beats or vocals, we can observe where its voltage level goes, then set the threshold to be slightly lower than that point. When setting output RMS compression, threshold determines the maximum average power level that can be sent to the speaker. Precise calculations are needed based on the speaker's RMS rated power, the amplifier's gain, to ensure the compressor effectively protects the speaker once the average power of the signal exceeds this threshold. The ratio determines the intensity at which the sound is suppressed. When the signal exceeds the threshold, the higher the threshold, the more intense the suppression. When setting input compression, relatively low ratio is generally used. For example, 2 or 4. To achieve gentle, smooth compression. When setting output RMS compression, safety is generally the priority. Set a very high ratio. Startup time determines when the compressor responds after the signal exceeds the threshold, and the time required to reach full compression. When setting input compression, when you press slow start to configure, that is, set it to 15 ms on 100 ms, even larger values will let go of the initial transient of the sound, make the sound more impactful. When press quick start to access settings, that is, set it to less than 5 ms, will immediately capture the transient state, make the sound smoother and more recessed. When setting output RMS compression, it is generally set to be relatively slow. For example, it can range from 5 ms, 10 ms to 100 ms, because it is concerned with heat accumulation. Instead of instantaneous peak, it deliberately ignored those brief, transient signals that did not generate heat, only responds to continuous high-power signals. Recovery time. It is determined that when the signal level falls below the threshold, time required for the compressor to stop working. Setting input compressor. When press quick restore to access the setting, that is, set it to between 20 ms and 100 ms, it will make the sound louder. However, it may also cause a sucking sensation. When you select slow recovery, set it to 500 ms to 1000 ms, even longer. It will make the sound smoother and more stable. When setting output RMS compressor, it's usually set to be relatively slow. This is to ensure that the heat from the voice coil has truly dissipated. The system has stabilized at a safe level, instead of immediately letting go as soon as the average power decreases. This leads to repeated power surges, because compressor reduces the overall peak level of the signal. In other words, the sound will become quieter. Compensation gain. This parameter can be used after sound compression. Turn the overall volume up again. This is when setting input compressor. Can adjust it according to the actual environment. It is not recommended to compensate for gain when use outputting RMS compressor, because RMS compressor purpose is to limit the maximum average power. If gain is added here, it's like protecting something while simultaneously bombarding the loudspeaker. Completely negated the protective effect. None of the above parameters have a universal value. Must set it up according to the actual situation.